Works now. There we go. All right. Emily, sorry we did not capture the beginning question, but we got to move on with the lesson now. Hopefully you feel better.
Wait a minute, have you guys recorded? No, I'm not.
All right. So this, right here.
I was just wondering if I could go to the library, share my
This is where, using a two-way frequency table, we've got changes on the x, changes on the y, if we set it up like that, is really important. And exactly what I said, we want to analyze what the assumed event is first, and then take the event that we're looking for. So a table shows data about what student involvement in extracurricular activities at a local high school. What's the probability that a randomly chosen student is a female who's not involved in extracurricular activities? So this is one of those complicated situations. So I'm going to show you the thought process for this. When we look at females not involved, does that only, when I'm looking at the probability, do I only care about the females? No, I care about everybody, but I'm looking at how many of them are female and not involved. So we're looking for female not involved. That would be this 120, which is where I get my 120. But then what we're looking at probability out of is the entire group of students. So that gives me my 516 on bottom, and we get about 23%.
Oh.
Because females is not an assumed happening.
So
It's saying what's the probability.
I wouldn't involve. I
Yeah.
did it right the first time. I'm like.
So we're not saying assuming this, what's the probability of that? We're saying in this group, what's the probability of this and that? So the this and that have to happen together, and it's out of the whole group. Please make sure we get this written down.
Nice highlight on that.
Yeah, you highlighted that.
Yeah, I do that like all the time. So try this.
Chill, man.
What is the probability that a member of the prom committee is male and a junior? What is the probability that a
that's
member of the
easy.
prom committee is a male that is a junior? Class?
25%.
Yeah, because I look at male juniors and I have 3 out of 12 people. That's 1/4 or 25%. Did the guest teacher yesterday talk about when we would decide to leave it as a fraction instead?
She kind of said something, but not really.
So when we deal with like relative frequency and things like that, we can work with fractions or decimals or percents. I would leave it as a fraction if the decimal's really messy. So like 1/7 goes on forever, 1/6 goes on forever, those sort of fractions that go on forever and I'd have to wrap, sometimes we'll leave those as fractions. So when you're doing stuff for me, I'll take either, but when you're making that decision in your head, decide which is nicer, which is more accurate. Yeah.
Yeah, I just like fractions because it's easier to think of it as like one of every 4
Yeah,
instead.
exactly. 1 of every 4 people, relatively, or 3 out of all the 12 people. Yeah, I agree with you. Fractions are just nice to think about. All right, so this is really small on your paper, but opinion polls are happening a lot right now. I just got sent one by the Ohio Education Association asking me who I'm going to vote for president, because they're trying to figure out what is the likelihood of certain people becoming president, because that tells them who they need to put money into advertising. If they know a lot of people are already going to vote for candidate Z, they don't need to put as much money into candidate Z's advertising. But if they want candidate Y to become president and everybody says they're going to vote for Z, they know they need to advertise really hard for candidate Y. So respondents of a poll were asked whether they were for, against, or had no opinion about a bill before a state legislature that would increase the minimum wage. Now you would think most people would say, yeah, that'd be great. But the people in the Senate are the big wigs making all the money at the top end of that upper 1%, so they're not always all about it. What is the probability that a randomly selected person is over 60 years old, given that the person had no opinion on the state bill? Given that the person had no opinion on the state bill. What is the... So I could almost turn this statement around. given that a person has no opinion on the state bill, what is their probability of being over 60? So how do I set this up? This is different than those previous situations. Seth? Ben?
Wouldn't you do 40 over 100?
Wait, why over 100?
So first, given that the person had no opinion, Ben says, okay, I'm looking at the no opinion. Then, what's their probability of being over 60? Then I look at over 60. So there's 40 people over 60 out of the 100 people that had no opinion. So we'd set up 40.
I thought it was over 210.
But this needs underlined, circled, starred like 9 times because it says given. We're assuming that condition. We're only looking at that group of people. So what this tells me is 40% of people that don't care are over 60. Why do you think people over 60 don't care? The minimum wage, hopefully, is not affecting our elderly. Now, those people who work at Walmart, the greeters, they probably are affected by that. Walmart does not pay their employees enough. I mean, if people just want something to do, I like that Walmart employs older people to essentially just say hello. But when we look at somebody trying to pay for a house, kids, a car, gas, food, like, it's not enough money.
They should work at Walmart.
No, that's what I'm saying is Walmart doesn't pay their employees enough. The minimum wage is not enough to live on. So that's one of the big issues that they're talking about in this upcoming presidential race is, are we going to increase the minimum wage for people? Because a lot of those minimum wage workers are still stuck at or below the poverty level.
No, apparently.
Try this, got it. Be careful of what is the given condition. What is the given condition? Be very careful with this.
We should do cards.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, do cards.
We should do cards.
Or Leon.
Remember when
Grant!
I raised the deck and got
Legit
card
home.
Yeah, what was Grant's probability of being the first card on the deck?
1 out of 58? I'm kidding. I don't know.
1 out of 15.
One
Well,
out of how
wait,
many?
Emily, so.
16, but since Emily's not here, I would have skipped her card and it would have actually been 1 out of 15. So, although that was like kind of cool, he had his hand up, then he got called, that probability is not that hard. 1 out of 15 is what, like 7%, something like that?
Oh, on the Spanish Schoology assignment, it has you order the words.
Do I get to answer the question?
Yeah, I don't know why we're talking about Spanish, but I was waiting because he was talking. So, Grant, what's given here?
Nice voice
Yeah, I meant to do that. In favor of the minimum wage.
So, the assumed is in favor of the minimum wage bill. Notice there's a typo. This should have been wage, not age. So, 4.
Negative 10.
Now, Grant, what numbers did you use to set up that probability?
780 of 4, so that's on the bottom. I put that.
780 is on the bottom because that's the total of the 4 group.
And then 30 to 45, 200.
Yep, and the 200 from the 30 to 45 group go on top. I can make my life a lot easier by chopping off zeros.
Yes.
200 over 780 is the same as 20 over 78.
I feel like it's going to be like 20.
Close.
29.
So, if this was 20 out of 80, then it'd be 25%, right? So it's going to be slightly higher since my total is less. What do you get when you do 20 out of 78? Seth?
You get 10 out of 39. But,
Well, okay, so we could do 10 out of 39 if we wanted.
Approximately 20.
What do you get when you calculate it? 0.256, which is 25.6% or close to 26%.
Can you do approximately 26?
Why do you think the majority of the 4 responders are in the 18 to 29 age group? Leah?
Because it affects them more since they're younger.
Yeah. that group of people is the largest affected population from minimum wage.
Also the largest. What's the
I'm gonna get
wage
a
at
job.
Kroger?
I have no idea. Kyle Cunningham, is he still in 8th grade or is he a freshman?
Oh, I know. I saw him.
He works there. Yeah, you could talk to him. I like always see him. Like,
Yeah.
I know he's not always working, but I feel like every time I go there, he is working.
Where?
Kroger, if you guys remember Kyle Cunningham.
I've seen him there.
All right, check it out. Last problem set for today. We got this and one more and we're done. A company has 150 sales reps. 2 months after a sales seminar, the company's vice president made this table based on sales results. What is the probability that someone who attended the seminar had an increase in sales? Read that carefully. What's the probability that someone who attended the seminar had an increase in sales? So notice, this table is a probability table. Your total, gentlemen, you're not paying attention, therefore you're not going to know what I'm saying, and I'm going to get annoyed when you get this wrong. The total is 1, which tells you this is a table already giving you the probabilities. So this is a probability table. It's not a table that we find probabilities out of. It's a table of the probabilities. Leah?
Okay, so what if that was a 2 instead of a 1?
It couldn't be. Because this represents 100%.
Oh, so
It has to be a 1.
Okay.
Yeah. A probability table will always have its total be 1. Total of everything. So, first thing we look at, Greg?
Increased sales for attended seminar.
So, first thing I look at really is the attended the seminar, since it's the first thing said. So what's the probability that someone who attended the seminar had an increase in sales? So then we look at increase like you said. So what do I get, Greg?
0.48.
Yeah, 0.48. That intersection right there.
Over 1.
Now, what if it asked how many employees attended the seminar and had an increase in their sales? What if it asked how many employees? Or how many reps, I guess we would say here. Greg?
100.
We don't know.
Employees.
Leon?
72.
How'd you figure it out?
I multiplied 0.48 by 150.
This is 48%
Oh.
of their representatives. So 48% of their representatives went to the seminar and increased their sales. So that I would just take 0.48 times the 150. Try this on your own. What is the probability that a randomly selected sales representative who did not attend the seminar did see an increase in their sales?
Did not see.
Sorry. What is the probability randomly selected rep who did not attend did not see an increase?
Oh, did not.
Did not attend, did not see an increase.
Yeah.
Oh, you should like stack
Sasha?
it first, so that, like,
2%.
So did not attend, did not see an increase. What is it? 0.18. Did not attend, then did not see an increase. Now notice, it assumes they did not attend because it says what's the probability that they did not attend and did not see an increase?
Oh, yeah, I had it. Jacob.
Why do we have to do this?
Yeah, see? Because it's out of all the people who didn't attend.
Out of the people who didn't attend. So, since the people who didn't attend is my assumed total, this screws us up.
That's just wrong.
It's going to make us go back to the previous problem.
That's our originally did.
I was hey guys, the extraneous noise either needs to stop on its own or I'm creating a seating chart, putting empty seats between you guys, and I'm going to send anyone to the office who talks. I'm really over it. I try to be nice. and I try to not like care that much when you guys have to have little side comments, but it's incessant. It is non-stop. You've got to realize we have stuff to learn. You don't know everything, and you have an end of course exam coming up in under 2 months where you need to know all this. You need to know it well. This is going to affect your high school grades. This is a high school end of course exam. It's going to affect college. College is when they look at you, look at everything they have on you. All of your scores from standardized tests in high school. Normally middle school doesn't matter, but high school tests matter. This is a high school test. All of this material's on that. If it wasn't worth teaching you, I wouldn't waste my time.
It'll affect your GPA, right?
That you get a letter grade for this class. Yeah,
If we all get a master's, that considered an A.
essentially.
So
Thank
That's-
you.
it could be like a B+.
So wait, so the problem here is we still have to do part divided by whole, but the whole now here is assuming the group I'm looking at is the group who did not attend. So this 0.18 would be relative to everybody, not just relative to who did not attend. So did we do the first problem correctly?
No.
We need to go back to that problem and realize that because it's the probability that someone who attended the seminar had an increase, what I'm looking at is increase with seminar
Wait,
over seminar.
so it was 48 over 8.
Yeah, we went back now.
First.
So we have to look at did attend, had an increase over the total group that went. Because we're still looking at part over whole, but the whole group we're looking at now is just those who attended.
I knew that. I don't know why I didn't say it.
I was waiting for somebody to say something, but I figured
had
somebody
that
might
written
catch it on the
down,
next
but-
one. So we get about 60% for that one.
Yeah.
You gotta look at what is the whole group now. So here, on the next one, just like we just figured out, whole group is now 0.2 because it is those who did not attend and did not increase over those who did not attend. That's why we care so much about what is assumed. That determines my whole group. So, alright, that is all I have for today.
Nice.